So good morning, everybody. Good afternoon for a lot of you as well. Welcome to the webinar, EU Techbridge Webinar, where the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District will present their innovation needs. My name is Harold Brons. I'm your moderator today, and I'm the Business Development Manager at Water Alliance. Please, happy to for you to go through the webinar and ask questions. So please use the Q&A. And if I can have the next slide, we'll go through today together with together with Mmsd and also our long-term partner in the US, the Water Council. So happy that Karen Frost will join us. After that, before that, we have the introduction of EU Techbridge by my colleague. Then we go to the Water Council and the Mmsd innovation needs. After each presentation, of course, there's room to answer a question, one or two, but mainly we will have time for that after the presentation from Mmsd, and we take some time for your questions and have a chat with Matt. And then, yeah, close up. We have an hour planned for you today, so we'll definitely make that. First give the floor to Stefan. Stefan is International Project Manager at the Water Alliance. Stefan, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Haro, for the introduction. My name is Stefan Bersma, and I work for the Water Alliance, which is one of the partners in this EU Techbridge project. I will give you a very short overview of this project. So, as you already can read here, the project is really about, the aim is really to connect North American organizations which have, let's say, a water or energy related challenge or innovation needs to innovative European SMEs which might have a solution for these challenges or innovation needs. So next slide, please. So very brief about the project, some basics, some keywords. So, well, as mentioned, it's really to make that connection between North American end users and the innovation ecosystem in Europe, and all focused on energy and water. It's a project funded by the European Commission. It runs for 2 years, so also next year it will still run. And it's a consortium of 5 different partners. So next to the Water Alliance, we have 4 other water and energy related clusters with a big network of companies. So with each other, we have around 1,000 innovative European SMEs in our network. We are from the Netherlands, but we also have clusters from Italy, from Sweden, from Spain, and from Denmark. So we cover a big part of Europe. And what we actually do in this project is we facilitate a matchmaking process, very easy, very flexible, between these North American partners and the innovative European SMEs. And that is really also, as stated at the last bullet, it's really end user focused. So we really focus on the needs and the wishes of these North American organizations we work with. Next slide, please. This is a very quick overview of what that means for also European SMEs, but also for the North American organizations. So this is our matchmaking process. And to go through that very quickly is that what we as a project do is we make contact, and we are looking for a North American organization who wants to be connected to innovative European SMEs. And also they are willing to, let's say, present their innovation needs or their challenges. So that's also actually what Mmsd is doing today. After that, we give European SMEs the opportunity to submit a very simple form, an application with their solution for the innovation needs of this particular North American organization. After that, the EU Techbridge partners, together with the North American organization, will evaluate those submissions, those applications, and they will select companies, which the North American partner thinks, okay, I want to have a follow-up meeting with them, or several follow-up meetings with them. That can be first digitally, and after that, if there's still interest between each other, that can be virtually, or that can be physically, sorry. And that's also really, let's say, the prize for the European SMEs is that they can, if their submission is liked by the North American organization, that they can have a one-on-one meeting with this North American organization to talk about cooperation possibilities. Next slide, please. Then some examples what we already did in the project. So with whom we already did these matchmaking processes. So as you can see here, it can be with cities, it can be with energy or water utilities, it can be with private companies. It's very broad, but all, and I guess I already mentioned that a couple of times, they all have, let's say, energy and or water related challenges, innovation needs, which they want to solve and where they are looking for innovative technology providers. That's a very short overview of this EU Techbridge project. We also come back to how you can apply for also the innovation needs of Mmsd at the end of this webinar. And if you have questions about this process, this project, please ask them in the Q&A and I will answer them for you.
Thank you very much, Stefan. It must have been a challenge in the COVID times, of course, to make contact with the US and not being able to travel. Nonetheless, you've been able to go to the US and speak, well, for example, to Mmsd. How do you see this affecting the SMEs? Yeah,
so when we started this project, we really had the thought that we would go also on physical missions, let's say, or we have physical meetings. And well, until now, it has all been digitally because of COVID, of course, but we also saw that still works. So we already established some beautiful cooperations and conversations between European SMEs and North American organizations. So we hope that in 2022, there are also opportunities to do that physically.
Yes, if the opportunity comes, we'll happy to make use of it together with the American end users and our SMEs. Yeah, thanks. We'll talk later. Then we move on to our next guest and speaker. And I would like to introduce Karen Frost. Karen is Vice President Economic Development at the Water Council. Water Alliance and the Water Council, they know each other already quite some time, and I think we share many similarities, Karen. Would be happy if you can share your screen with us, your presentation, and for me not, but for the SMEs to learn more about what you can do, also in combination with EU Techbridge. And it's much appreciated that you join us today.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure to join, and I'm looking forward to the presentation today and sharing about our participation. So, as Haro and Stefan have shared, the Water Council is a long-term partner with the Water Alliance, and we're very pleased that we could participate in the EU Techbridge opportunity by representing some of the needs of our stakeholders, which include Mmsd, but we've participated in other ways, and I'll share those too. So we are from Wisconsin. The Water Council is based in Wisconsin. We do represent a cluster of organizations that it comprises 240 companies with 23,000 employed and great distribution and exports across the globe. And our main role as the Water Council is to convene, connect, and showcase our companies and our stakeholders. One of those, of course, is Mmsd, who's on the call today, and which we are very pleased to be a close working partner with. But the Water Council also works very closely with industry. We have a number of programs that are focused on the needs of industry, but connecting those in the ecosystem is really fundamental to my work and to the work of the Water Council. So you see in the background a photo of our beautiful building that we are fortunate to be part of, which is the Global Water Center. And the Global Water Center not only serves as home for our own organization, but it's also a business incubator building for companies and practitioners in the water sector. So you'll see tenants in the building, such as a division of Xylem, Badger Meter, who's one of our founding members, and other water tech companies, large and small, We also have a university that is a tenant in the building that has the entire 7th floor, that has water technology acceleration labs. So the building itself is a functioning ecosystem and representation of the water technology industry. But the Water Council as an organization, as I mentioned, not only focuses on programs which link and match innovation into our membership and linking our members to one another, but we have a number of programs that can support companies across the globe. I also want to stress that, the Water Council, being focused as an economic development organization, is keen to work with companies such as those on the line today to help with soft landing support. So one of the focuses of the Water Council, in addition to the innovation suite of programs, which I'll mention, is working with companies from Europe to help them connect into the US market, specifically into Wisconsin, to find potential partners, members, customers, and customers. So sorry, I said that, but we definitely have worked with companies throughout Europe to function in that way. So in terms of our innovation platform, or innovation suite of programs, we have a pilot program, which we work very closely with Mmsd. We have a post-accelerator program, which supports late-stage market-ready companies with training and support to help get them connected and to grow and scale. And then we also have a tech challenge program, which isn't so unlike the EU Techbridge program, but which matches the interests of specific large industry members in terms of their specific areas of interest. The pilot program is one in which we work very closely with Mmsd, and I know Matt will talk a little bit about this, but the pilot program is an annual opportunity for companies globally to apply for modest funding and potential sites to test and validate their technology. And Mmsd is a working partner with us in that program. I'll also mention that, the EU Techbridge opportunity, in terms of inviting applications for Mmsd's interest, this could be a nice complement to that opportunity. So if Mmsd were to identify technologies of interest, the pilot opportunity could be a complement to that program. I guess lastly, I will mention, before I turn the program back over to Matt and sharing his particular interest areas, is that I have a colleague in Europe, Beverly Ferrara, who offices out of her home office in Ireland, and she is the European representative for the Water Council. So not only does she work very closely with our partner organizations, such as the Water Alliance, but works with British Water, the Catalan Water Partnership, and hubs in Denmark and in France and in other areas of Europe, not only to connect with our partner organizations, but to connect one-on-one with companies who have interest in making connections into the US market, and for which the Water Council could be a potential partner or asset in terms of companies looking to make connections into the US. So we're delighted to be part of this event today, and delighted to support not only our partnership with Mmsd, but our partners with the Water Alliance, and we look forward to leveraging this opportunity. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Karen. On that, thanks. I understand that soft landing, for example, but what you also touch base on, and I really like to stress that a little bit towards the European SMEs as well, is this well connected to your network. Huh? So I know, of course, that you have a foreign membership, and why I want to mention it is because I have the experience sometimes that for European SME, it's not always easy to get a handle on, well, just name it, American regulations, or how to start an entity, or how to deal with procurement rules from a municipal customer. And well, the win-win situation could indeed be that the SME finds, and this is all depending if, and there's never a security on a match, but a European SME could find a system integrator or partner through your network, being able to with that partnership, go into well, a possible complete solution, right, to an American end user. So I think that's an interesting American-European perspective. And yeah, it's good that you mentioned Beverly. So I'm sure she's listening in.
Yes. So, you know, to your point, Harold, yes, we do offer many connections, and that soft landing support, you know, can go far beyond an EU Techbridge opportunity. It can really be for any company, you know, in the network in water technology that is looking for connections and assistance to get a foothold and to get introductions into the US market. So especially for Wisconsin, we have an array of partners, you know, legal advisors that can help companies who have questions about incorporation or tax structure or incorporation or IP, or, you know, if they're looking for contract manufacturing or partners for assembly or anything like that, we can really help in so many different areas in terms of making connections that meet the specific needs and interests of the European companies. So yes, happy to discuss any particular scenario that would be meaningful.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us today. Let's have a look. No, I see no questions in the Q&A, but of course, reach out to Karen or Beverly also after this webinar. And yeah, we move slowly on to the star guest of today, if I may call you that, Matt. And I would like to introduce Matt Magruder. He's an environmental research manager at Mmsd. Matt, I'm happy that you share your screen and presentation, and well, talk with us about, take us through the innovation needs that you see at Mmsd.
Sounds great. Are you seeing my screen right now?
Perfect.
In
Yeah,
present
perfect.
mode?
Nice
Okay,
picture.
great. All right, and let me know if at any point it becomes difficult to hear me. I can try to adjust my mic or maybe unplug, replug in quick. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today. Thank you for the warm welcome, introduction, and remarks, Stefan, Haro, and Karen. I really appreciate everybody's time on the call today. I appreciate you closing out your day with us. And for those on this half of the planet here with us in the United States, good morning to everybody. So as Stefan and Haro noted, my name is Matt Magruder. I'm environmental research manager with the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District. I've been with MMSD for about 13 years now, and here today to kind of give you a brief overview of our technology and innovation needs. By no means is this a comprehensive list, and I just want to start off with, we don't know what we don't know. That's an obvious statement. So, you know, we're passionate about innovation and advancing as an organization, and also helping foster advancement of our industry at large. So as I go through the presentation, and you might think of things that I am not aware of, or opportunities that you're working on with your particular subject matter expertise, please don't hesitate to try to get into contact through the Water Alliance with us on those ideas. There's a lot of links and documentation that I'm going to share towards the end of my presentation today, so you can get more up to speed with the district and how we do business. And hopefully those are valuable resources, and you can start to kind of get into the nitty-gritty details of the drivers and pain points for us as an organization. So with that, I'm going to stop my camera here just to focus on the presentation. I have, different monitors set up here, and, I'm going to try to make sure that I'm not going to lose you all on my, with my internet connection by trying to do too much at once. So with that, you see a lovely picture here on our introductory slide of our MMSD Jones Island Water Reclamation Facility. And let me see here, just gotta get my mouse working here. So a little bit of an overview about what MMSD does. So primarily water reclamation and management of flooding. Those are the two main components of why we exist. But in reality, we do much more. Our executive director is very progressive, has us positioned more as a holistic environmental agency. So things that we do have expanded into things like household hazardous waste collections to try to prevent chemicals from entering into the conveyance system and ultimately to one of our 2 water reclamation facilities that were not designed to remediate. We also established a medicine collection take-back program for folks to safely dispose of unused or expired prescriptions, get those out of the home, creating less risk for misuse of those prescriptions, but also, again, keeping those contaminants of emerging concern out of our area waterways. We heavily invest and promote sustainability and green infrastructure. So designing green systems to mimic nature and manage water where it falls. We also have a program called Green Seams, which focuses on strategic acquisition and restoration of land in our planning and service areas. We do planning, we do engineering, we have a full-on laboratory, we do research, industrial waste monitoring, and more at MMSD. Speaking of that and more, one of our greatest success and bragging points is our Milorganite program. So Milorganite is a slow release nitrogen fertilizer. If you break down the name, it stands for Milwaukee Organic Nitrogen. It's a Class A biosolid. So what that means is through our Clean Water Act, CFR 40 Part 503, which is the provision for biosolids, we meet a Class A standard, which means that it is safe for use in growing produce with the product. So it's a heat-dried product that we produce at our Jones Island Water Reclamation Facility, which I'll give you more of an overview of. We produce and sell 50,000 US tons or 45,000 metric tons annually, and contributes to helping us offset about $12 million of costs, operational costs on an annual basis. On the green infrastructure, I just wanted to share this brand, Fresh Coast Guardians. It's our very public-facing, accessible brand for our green infrastructure initiatives and some of our other sustainability initiatives. It's a wonderful group of folks at MMSD housed in our current planning, research, and sustainability division under our sustainability manager, Brianne Pleer. The goal of our Fresh Coast Guardians is to capture 2.8 million cubic meters of water where it falls by 2035 in any rain events, which is equivalent to the first half inch or over a centimeter of rainfall on the service area. So where does the water go? We have a pretty big service area. As you'll see, it's about 660 kilometers squared. The map here kind of denotes or delineates the parts of the 28 municipalities that we serve. So it's all or part of 28 municipalities, 1.1 million customers. So on a dry day, we treat about 681,000 cubic meters of wastewater per day. So pretty large scale operation here at MMSD. The water specifically travels through, starting at the home or the business, there's 3,000 miles or 4,800 kilometers of private laterals, which feed into 4,800 miles of municipally owned sewers. And then it comes to MMSD. So we actually really only own and maintain 480 kilometers approximately of sewers. These are the very large diameter collectors that take water to one of our 2 water reclamation facilities. On the map, the area that's in green is the area of the part of our service area that is a combined sewer service area. The white around it is the separated sewer service area. And you'll see some of that conveyance network, the MIS, as well as our inline storage system in the dark purple, which is locally known as the Deep Tunnel, which has been online since 1994. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here on the next slide. So here's just a quick aerial photo of each of our plants. The plant on the left is the Jones Island Water Reclamation Facility located in the Port of Milwaukee. On the right is the South Shore Water Reclamation Facility in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. They're about 15 miles apart from each other. And the two facilities are interconnected with an interplant sludge pipeline where we pump sludge between the two plants, which I'll get you more familiar with shortly here. And the picture in the middle just kind of represents that they are interconnected, although that is a picture of our inline storage system, which is 521 million gallons or about just shy of 2 million cubic meters of storage volume for that system, which has drastically improved our performance as an organization since it went online in 1994, and tremendous benefits to regional water quality, public health, and safety. So to get a little more familiar with Jones Island, I have a picture of a process flow diagram, very simplified in nature, but just to give you a high level idea of everything that goes on. So for scale, MMSD is at peak day 1.2, about 1.3 million cubic meter per day facility. We have the capacity to do blending at this facility where we would bypass secondary treatment with primary treated wastewater, blend that with fully treated wastewater, and then send it to disinfection where it's chlorinated and dechlorinated and discharged within our permit. But it's an emergency measure to help try to mitigate overflows or basement backups. So there's a lot going on this screen. Basically, there's high level, low level structures that combine with anything pumped out of the tunnel that makes its way into our plants. We're a conventional activated sludge facility with primary, secondary treatment plus disinfection. And then we do a lot of solids handling, which is actually very complex because we pipe our primary sludge to South Shore, where it combines with primary sludge from South Shore, and it's anaerobically digested, sent back with the waste activated sludge from South Shore to Jones Island, where it combines with the waste activated sludge from Jones Island, gets thickened, and begins the process of its transformation into that biosolid product Milorganite that we talked about earlier. So this schematic gives you a brief overview of essentially what happens at these facilities. They're very large facilities, and there's going to be some hyperlinks to documents that can get into much more detail on these various processes that you see listed here. So South Shore is slightly smaller, 1.1 million cubic meter per day facility, or 300 million gallons. Currently, we do not have any capacity to do blending here. As noted on the previous slide, the primary sludge comes here. This is our only site that does anaerobic digestion. And the biggest difference between how the process flow, other than, it's a much simpler start in terms of the flow control structure going into the screenings area of our preliminary treatment, is that in our primary treatment, we use chemically enhanced primary treatment. So iron salts are used for removing phosphorus from this facility for meeting our effluent discharge permit. So on this slide, I just wanted to share with you all that MMSD isn't doing this alone. We have a partner. So we have a contract operator, Veolia Water. They've been with us since 2008. That was their first contract, which ended in 2018, but was renewed through 2028. So they're our partners in running these facilities and in part in the conveyance. And together, and since the Deep Tunnel has went online, we're very proud that we are capturing and treating over 98% of all the water that is collected and conveyed to us at the district. The goal set by the EPA and the Clean Water Act is to treat 85% capture and clean. So we are well ahead of that, very proud of it. And that inline storage system has just done a tremendous job removing a lot of overflow and pollutants from our area waterways. So a little more about MMSD is, I just wanted to share the mission of our organization. We protect the public health and environment through world-class, cost-effective water resource management, leadership, and partnership. We continue to expand our leadership role in developing regional approaches for protecting and improving water quality. We're continuing to develop and foster strategic alliances such as we have here today with the Water Council and Water Alliance to help us with our project planning and implementation. We advocate at MMSD for a watershed approach to managing our region's water resources, and think of that as we manage our own operations in the most cost-effective and sustainable way possible. So we have a 2035 vision for our organization, which was put in place by the commission that oversees us. We have a commission that governs the activities of the district, and in that 2035 vision and excerpt is that we envision a healthier, cleaner, resilient region. And really, in a nutshell, what that breaks down to is we want to the extent feasible, attain zero overflows and zero basement backups. We want to also improve our stormwater management. As an organization, we're striving to be a model in our management of climate change impacts on wet weather, and our focus on energy efficient and sustainable operations is at the forefront of our minds. So speaking of some of those goals on energy efficiency, we want to meet 100% of our energy needs with renewable energy sources. We also want 80% of our needs to be met with internal renewable resources. And we also have goals to significantly reduce our carbon footprint by upwards of 90%, 30% of which reduction can come from our Green Seams land acquisition program and the carbon sequestration that comes along with restoring the landscape. I also want to just touch base on our values at the organization: stewardship, integrity, quality, collaboration, diversity, and innovation. We believe that when we focus on these and ingrain them into our daily operations, that it helps us achieve organizational excellence. And we strive to have these in all of our work activities. So into the reason why you are here today, to learn about what some of our needs are. And as I said at the beginning of the presentation, this list is by no means exhaustive, but I broke it down into 3 distinct areas: the conveyance side of things, the treatment plants, and then the stormwater management or the sustainability green infrastructure integrated watershed type needs. On the conveyance technology needs, the 3 things that really jump out on the forefront are, for those that have insights and technologies and strategies to help us improve point repair or rehab of sanitary sewers. So again, we have very large pipes we're responsible for. So we're in that 90 to 365 centimeter pipe diameter range. So pretty large pipes, and really, we're interested in solutions that can help it where there are challenges logistically. So areas where it is difficult to dewater, for example, and how we might approach repair in the most minimally invasive way as to not disrupt our local economy. Also, we're always looking for environmentally friendly approaches to mitigate hydrogen sulfide in our conveyance system. We have some experience in this space, but by no means know all the various strategies that are out there. We've done some projects and have modeling in place, and we know that in certain areas of our collection system, we can hit concentrations above 200 parts per million at some of the peak pinch points. And so, we want to one, be a good neighbor and make sure that we are not providing extreme nuisance odors or creating any safety issues. And of course, we don't want to let our conveyance system, these public assets that are in place to protect public health and the environment, to deteriorate quicker than their designed useful life. So if there are, whether it's chemical strategies or air changing strategies or biological systems and strategies for filtration or seeding to reduce the production of H2S at the microbial level, those are all types of ideas and things that we're open to learning more about. And of course, odors are transferable to the plant as well. So while it's not explicitly stated, we do have an odor plan for our Jones Island water reclamation facility. And in the future, we will start that for South Shore, and we will start the planning process. So ideas on what we might use to cost effectively mitigate H2S is always of high interest. Then talking a little bit about inflow and infiltration, that's a huge need for us at the district, a huge activity. The laterals are around 10 centimeters, and again, there's 3,000 miles or 4,800 or 4,300 roughly kilometers of privately owned laterals, and they're a huge source of, whether it be direct or indirect, or direct infiltration or indirect inflow into the system. We want to try to minimize the amount of clear water that's making it to our facilities. That in itself has a cost associated with it, treating clear water, and it also, having a combined sewer service area, can be a huge tax on some of the ability to treat flows during wet weather. And so we want to try to mitigate this as best as possible. Some of the challenges we've seen are, sometimes it's difficult to identify, and it's very expensive and time consuming and costly for all the coordination to monitor, to coordinate with homeowners to get in, and whether it's smoke test, dye test, whatever it might be, are there better ways to both predict where sources might be, as well as to actively monitor? So whether it's flow monitoring or what you will, anything that can help us be more efficient and effective in identifying sources and then also remediate them. What types of technologies and strategies are in place for helping rehabilitate these small diameter pipes, before having to go to the extreme of replacing them. On the treatment facility, bunch of things out there. Like everyone, we're trying to understand more about PFAS mitigation in liquids and biosolids. There are no current standards that we have to meet in this space, but we're trying to be proactive and learn what technologies are in place that might be able to help us achieve those goals that might come out in different regulatory guidance. Also interested in sustainability of the facilities, greenhouse gas emission reduction and carbon neutrality are of high interest. So, ways to analyze in real time and note our emissions, and also be able to audit those and make decisions to help improve from an operational standpoint are of interest. We also are interested, as we said earlier, in in overflow reduction. So are there opportunities for high rate treatment for overflow reduction? This could actually fall on the other slide as well. We have some high volume overflow sites, and, just curious if anybody is working on technologies that might help us continue to optimize how we operate and make decisions, and have some possible end of pipe technologies to help us mitigate, not limited to actual large systems, but also decision support tools for maximizing, the conveyance operation to help mitigate wet weather events are of interest. So more of that digital transformation side of operational excellence. We're also interested in eliminating waste and beneficial reuse opportunities. So, you know, some high level things are we produce a lot of grit and scum. How can we beneficially reuse those? We also produce a lot of fines from our Milorganite process just with the existing technology. There's, you know, really about a 13% mass fraction that's a fine or dust. We call it chaff. It's essentially compositionally identical to Milorganite. You know, beyond pelletizing, is there ways to, you know, destroy that and reduce the quantity and extract renewable energy resources from it? So whether that be a pyrolysis system or something along those lines, interested in opportunities there. You know, also other sustainable reuse opportunities, you know, like biopolymer production from the methane generated at the wastewater reclamation facilities, or N2O capture and use for augmentation of biogas would be of interest as other examples. Definitely interested in a lot of analyzer opportunities. We have big facilities, as you saw in those overviews. There's very long aeration channels, for example. And, you know, if there was a real-time meter for us to be able to measure ammonia, that would save a lot of times in operation to be able to kind of spot check versus having to use, you know, a hawk test kit or wait for a lab result. So it'd be nice to be able to have a meter that could be calibrated and taken out to, you know, drop in and collect different data points just to make sure that the system is operating as intended. Additional analyzer opportunities that we could benefit from seeing: residual chlorine, siloxanes and gas, as we mentioned, and you can see our two storage spheres at South Shore Water Reclamation Facility for biogas. Siloxane measurement, real-time percent total solids analyzer for sludge would be great to help optimize the use and of polymer, and to make sure that we're running those dryers as efficiently as possible, because they're a huge source of energy demand as well as our emissions. We also are producing, like I mentioned, biogas at South Shore from the digesters. We have 6 mesophilic digesters with about 56,000 cubic meters per day of capacity, and producing biogas at about a 20-day SRT. We produce about 33,000 or 34,000 cubic meters per day of biogas at about 61% methane content. So any ways to improve that gas handling system to maximize our combined heat and power, so gas quality improvement, whether that be you know, water wash system or something else to help, you know, clean that gas, improve the quality of it to be used in our combined heat and power system for energy generation, to, you know, improve uptime and also decrease you know, the amount of costs associated with changing out carbon in our carbon scrubbers, if we can, you know, treat it a little bit before it hits those and be a little more sustainable in the use of our carbon at Mmsd. Into stormwater management, looking for cost-effective active or passive control strategies to optimize storage and release of water based on forecasted conditions for the active controls, or observed conditions on site for passive controls. We're also very interested in remote inspection tools. We're staff resource limited, and as we get more and more green infrastructure implemented in the region, having low-cost ways to inspect are very important to us. So thinking of things like satellite spectral imaging to assess vegetation health, native versus non-native species for maintenance. Also, if there's any kind of clogging and ponding where there shouldn't be, we think there might be some opportunities there. So those would with experience in this space, of course, we'd be interested in learning more and how that might help us make sure that our investments in stormwater management are long-term, meeting their design criteria. Also interested in what are possible new management practices to maximize infiltration of stormwater and mitigate pollution. So if there's better designs out there to help us target priority pollutants for us in our region, we have a total maximum daily load that includes TSS, phosphorus, and bacteria. So systems to help, most effectively filter out those pollutants. Also interested in, are there new engineered soil mixes and media to help, again, improve water quality and water quantity benefits of green infrastructure. Also interested in, are there GI system analyzers, like that last slide, also interested for lower costs analyzers. The key is some of these systems are small. So at very large green infrastructure sites, we have a little more flexibility to invest more in monitoring and controls if we would like to, but, are there low cost analyzers for more medium to upper boundary of the small size systems for measuring water quality and performance at these locations. Just wanted to now touch base briefly on our procurement opportunities at MMSD. We're pretty passionate about expanding our supplier diversity at MMSD, and I'll have some links for you to find things. But when you go to the MMSD landing page, there's in the upper ribbon a procurement section, which will really take you to all of our open procurement opportunities, but also the supplier diversity, business development, workforce development, and all these different resources that are available to you all to get plugged in with our procurement pipeline here at MMSD, get registered as a supplier of goods or services, and to be alerted to opportunities when there's opportunity to bid or propose on work with the district. So within there's a bunch of other hyperlinks. So I provided a list of these, and these slides will be available to you all, but the mmsd.com will kind of take you to the landing page. You learn everything about MMSD. The Fresh Coast Guardian, so you can learn more about our sustainability program, our plans and vision there. Again, the procurement page, and then there's also the page that describes in more detail our 2035 vision. The facilities plan link is the next hyperlink. That will get you into the technical detail as much as your heart desires about those processes that I described earlier. Then you can also kind of see what we have planned for in our budget. So you can kind of see the projects that are coming up, the timeline, where they're at, and you can kind of use that to think about procurement opportunities you're interested in and monitor those opportunities as you get registered with us as a supplier or vendor. Then also, just a little bit more about us and what we do. I included the link to our discharge permit for MMSD, so you can learn more about the effluent quality that we're trying to meet, learn more about the regulatory drivers for what it is that we do, just to get more familiarized with us. And of course, if there's additional information that I've overlooked here that you all think of, please, reach out to the Water Alliance. They'll get in contact with me, and I can make sure to get that to the group at large so everybody has an opportunity to access it. So with that, I always like to leave with the focus on partnership. Together we can be partners for a cleaner environment. And with that, I have my direct contact information on this slide, and am available to do my best to take some high level questions at this point in time, or do my best to get into detailed questions. And hopefully I did not blow up our time too much here with that presentation, Harold.
No, it was perfect. It was perfect, Matt. Thank you very much. Just checking. Well, just wanted to reach out to the people listening in to ask any questions that they have in the Q&A. But until that comes up, maybe I have a few, Matt, because you have quite an interesting broad overview, of course, of the topics in the different aspects, of course, of your operations. one thing I was thinking about on the conveyance, right? So new approaches to perform point repair, but maybe one thing up front of that would also be leak detection, wouldn't it? I guess aging infrastructure is a topic everywhere in the world, from Europe or the US, because a lot of the capital, although you do not own them, all of them, as I understand, and the capital is a lot in the ground, right? So what kind of leak detection, strategies do you have now? And then are you looking for opportunities there as well, or innovations there as well?
Yeah, I would say there's absolutely opportunity there. I think that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. I overlook things all the time. You're 100% correct that's a huge opportunity. And we are very interested in optimizing our asset management system and having a pulse on the state of all of our asset facilities. And so our asset management team works diligently in this space, but always looking for opportunities to improve how we do that. So, right now we do a lot of flow monitoring at various points, and we do deploy portable meters into that into those municipally owned pipes, because, it benefits both the municipality and Mmsd to kind of get an idea where water's coming in from, so we can detect, an issue and work with our municipal partners to have something corrected. And then, of course, on our own side, we do our metering as well as our CCTV inspections. We might be able to improve that process. I know there's been a lot of development of machine learning and AI systems to help review that film. So I don't think we've really embarked on that yet. So that might be both an opportunity from a saving standpoint, but also having a spot check, to help reduce potentially any kind of human error that could come along with reviewing, quite face it, mundane film.
Yeah, but of course you did mention it, of course, because you were mentioning your conveyance system also in the machine learning AI request that you put forward, and I think that predictive maintenance part also for assets under the ground is also in that AI curve. Even if it's depending on flow or it's physical inspection, you have to collect data and make manageable information out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, part of that will come down to revisiting. We have an existing, though it's kind of been shelved, artificial neural network for optimization. And we're going to try to get that revisited in the near future here. So there'll probably be some procurement opportunities specifically looking for, firms with experience in developing those models and optimization of timing of flows, gate closures, things of that nature for improved outcomes.
Right. And I think, to continue the digital transformation, I guess there's also opportunities in energy efficiency, those kind of aspects, which of course play then a role in your carbon neutrality, your emission reduction targets that you have, the mission.
Yeah, and of course, and I could probably talk for a day about needs and wishes, right? With our conveyance, we find that we feel like we have a lot more limited opportunities for reducing energy demand. So if folks have creative ways on how you've locally went after becoming more efficient in your conveyance system, whether it's reducing, pumping costs through material science, or even greenhouse gas emissions for, methane, nuisance methane loss from the conveyance system, at strategic points, we're definitely open to ideas. We want to become a more resilient, sustainable organization. And, that's one area particularly where, it's been harder for us to uncover opportunities to make strides. So I definitely welcome any kind of support there.
Perfect. There's one more question coming in through the Q&A. Matt, from Yuka Hakola. Pharmaceutical residues in discharged water is a hot topic. Mm-hmm. Do you already do something to keep the amount of pharmaceutical residues out of Lake Michigan? So do you have any out of end of pipe type of systems or quaternary treatment in place?
Yeah, unfortunately, no, we do not have anything currently in place. That's really where the spirit, and we've invested and done a lot of research to quantify, what comes into our facilities and what goes out. Sometimes it's difficult to do, a mass balance based off the complexity and the intertwined nature of the facilities. A lot happens, in some cases you'll see some removals somewhere in the liquid stream, but then likely goes into a solid stream.
But there is some biological degradation,
Biological
but
degradation.
how much,
Yep.
and which components do you get back?
Right.
So it's a
Right.
complex mass balancing.
Yeah, it's very complex. We try to work with our regulators, a lot of university partners. I think I saw one on the call from University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, where we've done a lot of collaborative research and trying to understand then what are the discharge concentrations, and at those environmentally relevant concentrations, what's the impact on aquatic life that are representative of our region. So we're starting to get some answers, but again, it's still at very preliminary. We got to do a long-term tests on organisms with longer life cycles before we have a full understanding of it. But no, we don't have anything in place. However, that's part of the spirit of why we created that household medicine collection program, to try to prevent excess from coming in, knowing that you're going to already have some excreted from the human body. But if we can prevent people from dumping it directly,
flushing it down the toilet,
or extra pills and stuff like that, that's one way that we've tried to help combat that. Just the cost is extremely high at this point to go after it, and without a specific regulatory driver, there just hasn't been the possibility to do that with our other infrastructure needs.
I guess this counts also a little bit for PFAS, right? Is your concern or your mid-long term strategy more focused to PFAS in the liquid or the solids form, or you say, well, equal interest and we have to follow or we have to comply in the end, right, to regulations coming up?
Equal, and along those lines too, and I could have thrown this out there for conveyance, we move a lot of earth at Mmsd with our projects, and we have to be mindful of how we remediate sediment as well when we start uncovering to do projects. So it's both in liquids and solids that the plants were interested, right, because we want to continue to be able to beneficially use our solids in that Milorganite program. Currently, some states have regulations and we are adhering to those for limits in PFAS. But if those become more stringent, we need to know technologies to remove it. And of course, on the liquid side, we have a high interest as well, because we don't want to be discharging anything into the environment if we can cost effectively have, a way to go after that. And then of course too, like I mentioned before, on the moving the earth, when we're doing our projects in our community and in our region, how we might remediate and control anything leaching off of construction sites, that's of high interest as well.
And well, depending on, of course, how you approach it, but it could be part of the piloting program, I guess. There's another question coming in, Matt, from Clinton Howard. Considering the aging infrastructure of the US water system, has asset management, specifically condition and energy monitoring, been a focus area? Primarily for the greenhouse gas emission reduction initiative. Extending the lifetime of critical production assets, such as submersible pumps, could be a means of reducing environmental impact.
Yeah, I love those questions, Clinton. I appreciate you presenting them. So we are making very large strides in our asset management program. I share the wall right in front of me with our asset program manager, and I'm surrounded by his wonderful staff here. They're doing a tremendous job to get a pulse on all of our assets. And we're a little later I should say late to the game in some respects, where for a long time we were trying to do a lot with very little resources. We still could obviously use more resources, but are starting to get a pulse on things and have a management plan in place, and are implementing those recommendations as we speak. So yes, condition assessments are performed. That in part is done with our operator. We're looking at ways to leverage state-of-the-art machine learning and AI type systems. With that, there's a significant opportunity to do more, real-time pump monitoring, temperature monitoring, make sure things are running at their best efficiency point. We don't have nearly enough of that infrastructure in place, but it's something that we're hoping to start to make some strides on, as we internally have a committee that's working on developing a pathway forward for implementation of AI and machine learning at our facilities. That'll be, as we develop the framework for that and start to then go out to look for experienced vendors to close that gap for us, recommendations on the right type of metering and things we can use would be very important. But of course, at the same time, we want it to be as technology agnostic as possible, so systems can integrate with each other and with our existing infrastructure, so we're not having to do massive rip and replace. But
yes,
great point.
I guess the smarter the system, the less work for you guys, right? They support you and instead of giving you more work. So yeah.
Yeah, if we can start to automate and things of that nature, that's super important to us. I agree. The greenhouse gas emission reduction initiative, we're starting to develop, comprehensive models to help us be a little more clear and be able to do those mass balances. And then, from there, use that to integrate additional models. And I would hope a sustainability model would be one of those models incorporated in on greenhouse gas emissions. So for those of you that have, technologies for real-time monitoring of emissions and display solutions, so we can be aware of what's going on and see where there's significant opportunity where we can make an operational change to get a reduction, capture that, quantify it, and just reliable audit methods to show that we are really moving the needle and reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. Those are all things that we're interested in. And I agree with you, Clinton, that extending the lifetime of those assets would be tremendous. And would also improve the environmental outcomes if we're not wasting energy and running inefficiently and things of that nature.
Well, let's encourage Clinton to maybe we can go to the next slide, and then we can encourage Clinton to apply. We're over 5 o'clock for us. Matt's at 10 for you. No, it's very good. I guess we slowly come to a close of our webinar. Very interesting. Mm-hmm. So one of my remarks would indeed be, Clinton, please apply. The link will be shared to all the applicants or all the people who participate today through an email that will be sent. So you can you don't have to write it down, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So deadline for submitting your proposal is Friday, January 21st. Next slide, please. If you have any questions with regard to EU Techbridge, please reach out to us. And all left for me is to thank you very much, Matt, for your extensive and also very enthusiastic approach and sharing your innovation needs to us. Also like to thank Karen Frost, my colleague Stefan Bergsma, and Timon Jausma for helping putting this webinar together today. Any final remarks from your side, Matt?
Yeah, I just again want to say thank you to everybody for giving your precious time to listen to our needs here in Southeast Wisconsin in the United States. Appreciate that. Spending and closing out your business day with us here in Milwaukee specifically. These slides I will send to you, Haro and Stefan, to distribute them to the network so folks can click those hyperlinks and get to those activities. And of course, don't hesitate to reach out to me with any more information or questions or information requests. I can, connect you to the right people at Mmsd. I mean, we have so many versed people who could speak for hours on any one of these initiatives, even much more proficiently than I can. And love to connect you with the right folks here. And we're excited to start evaluating these and developing a path forward to possibly test some of your solutions. So it's a great time for us to start to evaluate what's possible and then plan from a budget perspective to pilot things if they meet the need.
Thank you very much for that offer and for your precious time as well. Then I would just say, everybody have a good night for those in Europe, and have a good rest of the day for the Americans under us. Thank you very much all, and have a good day. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Thank you.